All right, guys, I said I had something special for you. Well, this house has always had a little bit of inspiration from a special place I like to go to. So if any of you guys have ever gone to Orlando, Florida and stayed at the Wilderness Lodge at Walt Disney World Resort, it is just something very, very special. I love that place. I go there every time I get a chance, which is about once every 3 years or so. But I gotta tell you, there's a lot of inspiration from this property that came from that. Like the little creek that we have here, as you can see. One of the other things that I absolutely love about the Wilderness Lodge is that when you go down to the pool area, every hour on the hour, a huge geyser, a water geyser, shoots off, and I believe it goes up about 65 feet in the air. And I always said, I'm gonna have water geyser shoot off at my house. So, let me take you on a little tour. It all starts right here at this hose that will eventually tap into the water line. It flows through the creek, up alongside the big rock around back, and there's a main water line. And Jana's up there right now because we are mixing mortar, putting some coloring in it, and we're going to start forming our geyser. All right, so that water line terminates up here at the top, and what we've done is we found the perfect garden hose fitting that will shoot, and I believe it's going to be about 25 to 30 feet in the air. So we're going to get started forming the basin of the geyser. Y'all hang on and check that out. All right, well, that is 2 bags of type-in mortar with a little bit of color mixed in. I'm kind of liking it right now. Some of the geysers that I looked up and did some research on have kind of some layers to them. Little, I think you call them mud pots, or mud where it kind of molten comes up and kind of plops down. All the minerals and everything kind of look like it streams down. I think Jana's doing a great job, and we're going to mix up one more bag. We're going to kind of fan it out a little bit more. Once it sets a little bit more, we'll try to put a little bit more realism into it, more cracks, more lines, little stuff like that. So anyway, we're excited. It's looking good. We're happy. Here we go. So we're gonna finish this up. We're almost completely done. Took us a couple hours. We got a little bit of detail work that needs to be done to it, but we're losing light. So we're gonna let this cure for a few days, and the next thing we'll do is hook up the water line and give it a test. All right, it's the next day. We're going to check out our geyser. Not sure how it's gonna turn out because the sun set on us last night. We couldn't really see what we were doing. Hey, it looks good. So here we are. This is the geyser. As you can see, it's got the little mud pots like a real geyser would have. I think it blends in nicely. It's still going to cure out a little bit. We put the smaller nozzle in there. Let's go turn it on. All right, so we don't have it permanently plumbed like we're going to. Well, but what I am going to do is temporarily put a water hose to it and check and see how high it shoots, what it looks like. Is it angled the wrong way? Do I hate it? This should be fun. Okay, so this is the end of the hose that I showed y'all, and what I've done is I've just put a small fitting on it and I've run the hose to the water bib right there. It runs all the way through, goes around, and it'll shoot up. Now the goal is for there to be a motion detector way over here, so when you drive up it clicks on and the valve shoots that water right up. Well, let's turn on this water hose. All right, well, I wasn't thrilled with the nozzle that was on that last one. It was kind of like a pea shooter looking geyser. And anyway, I think it needs more air mixed in. So I've got an adjustable nozzle. It was the original one that was on there. And I'm gonna adjust it to see if I can get a little bit more air to it. I think it might take the overall height down, but I think in general, it'll give more of an effect that I'm looking for. Instead of being 35 feet high, it might be 20 feet high, but it'll have a lot more volume into it. So let's try that. Oh. That's definitely a lot better. Well, good morning. It looks like we've come full circle as far as the seasons from when we first started this build. You can see maybe the smoke coming off my breath there. Well, it's very cold and I'm not prepared for cold, but I'm gonna work anyway. So when we last left off, we had completed the geyser area, but we had not painted it. And it's been about a week or so since you saw the last blast off. Let me scroll around. You can see the geyser area again. It needs to have what I call the sulfur effect to it. So I'm not super familiar with geysers. I don't claim to be, but in some of my research I've seen where they have a white cap to it, which I believe is called a mineral buildup. I've been calling it a sulfur effect, or I'm gonna just call it a little white effect. So what I'm gonna do now is take a little exterior kills. I'm gonna just brush it on, wipe it on, kind of put a little bit of effect. I'm gonna do a little bit at a time and just see how I like it. But I think it'll give a little bit more dimension, and I think I'll be pretty happy with it. So here we go. All right, well, from what I can recall, there's some white accents usually cresting over the top of the little mud pots here. So I'm gonna try a little bit of wiping it on, rubbing it on. I've got an old shop brush over here that I'll try to use. Anyway, I'm kind of winging this, never done it before, but let's see how it turns out. Okay, so I got plenty of the white highlights on here. I maybe should have waited to do the highlights later. I'm going to start bringing in a little bit of color, a little bit of browns. I think the green effect of the rock is probably going to have to take hold naturally, because it's kind of a moss that's going over it. So I may brush on a little moss accent at some time, but right now we're going to hit the browns. All right, guys, so I'm using a Rust-Oleum. It's actually just something I had laying around. It's a hammered, it's actually a gold. I don't know how it's gonna look on this rock, but we're gonna give it a shot. Well, I know it's hard to tell what I'm doing. I added a little bit of that hammered gold spray paint on there, kind of dusted it, and I hit that in kind of the recessed areas, and it gave it a little bit more definition, a little bit more realism. I still think I'm missing some green and probably a little bit of black, so I'm not exactly sure how to get this. I'm kind of winging everything, so let's just keep going. Well, I dug around and I found some sienna stone texture. Let's give this a shot. Well, I'm kind of liking that. It's got a lot of black speck in it. All right, I believe what I'm needing on this rock is that moss green to help it blend in. There's a lot of green on this big old boulder, and I want it to blend in a little bit more. So I don't know whether to artificially put the green on it or let nature take its course, because once this geyser is operational and the water's flowing, especially in the summer, I got a feeling that we're going to get a little bit of natural green algae growing on there. So haven't decided that yet. I'm going to call it a day for right now. Let this paint that's on there cure. Probably watch a couple of YouTube videos and see how they did it. But for now, I'm happy with it. I think I got the fundamentals down right. But I do think I want to pick up a little bit of that moss green. You know, I was walking around on the other side of the rock, and there's a really black kind of streak of rock going through it, and I don't know if I can incorporate that or not. I don't know if I'm brave enough to incorporate that. So, well, let me give you a close-up so I can show you exactly what it looks like. All right, well, all this here is done with the mortar. Okay, that's what we made to look like the geyser. So the textured paint really added a lot to it. I still think the green is needed. If you can see here, you got some green moss. I hope it picks up on the camera, but then it goes from green to more of a pinky tan undertone. So I think I need to incorporate that green. Okay guys, well, I'm gonna try to bring out the green a little faster than nature can do it. I got this camouflage green, kind of a flat color, so I'm gonna see how this works. I think I've played with it enough for the day. What you saw me spraying there last was this clear coat. Anyway, I think it's looking pretty good. It blends. The white kind of popped. I kind of wanted to see a little contrast there, which I'm glad it did that. So we're going to let all this dry. Right now it is only operational if I manually turn it on. What I really want to have happen is I would like to have a motion detector when you drive home. The motion detector spots the car and it shoots the geyser off, announcing that we're home. So that's my next challenge, to see if I can get that done.